I'm joined with Alexandra Sherron from Empress Royalty. Alexandra, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on.
So here we are at a gold conference in July of 2025. We were here last year. Sentiment was it was definitely more positive than it would have been the year before that. But since then, the price of gold is up nearly $1,000 an ounce. It sounds like from looking at your resume here, you have been working in the gold space for a while. I'm sure you have some thoughts about what's happening with gold and investor sentiment right now. What's going through your head?
Yeah, I started in the industry in 1997. So just post-Bre-X, everyone was going to the dot-coms, getting away from mining. So I've seen various cycles go through. And I think we finally are going into a full bull market. You look at the basic fundamentals there and why people have gold and silver. And I really believe it's going to run, especially with such instability in the world right now with the volatility. People, I think, are moving more towards gold. You're looking at the European central banks who have had more gold on hand than they ever had before. If you look at some of the reports coming out of Asia, high net worth individuals who hold, I think it's 4% gold, have now increased that in the last year to about 12%. So I think we're starting to see that shift happening now.
And you're picking up on that with your conversations with investors, I imagine there's more interest.
Yeah, it's really cool. This is our third time being here at the Rick Rule conference in Boca. And, different flavors each year of things, but everyone's quite positive about gold and silver last year. Everyone is buzzing with it this time.
So let's turn the discussion to Empress Royalty. It's the first time we've had a chance to chat. What's the high-level overview of the company?
So we are a royalty and streaming creation company. And essentially what that means is we directly invest into mining companies that need capital to expand production or to get into production. So we're very much focused on the end of that. And that really comes from the fact that, my background, I was PwC, and then I joined Endeavor Financial, which is a global leading mining advisory group, as an analyst, became director of structured finance in London. I come from the structured finance background, as does most of the team. And that's why we like to deploy capital into the producing assets. And what we were seeing, though, just to even take a step further back and why we set Empress up, is we were seeing the streaming companies were doing $100 million plus, and no one was doing the streaming finance solution to the junior side of the market. Bank debt's restrictive, and the traditional debt was not available to them. Equity had dried up, and if it was available, big dilution. So that's why we come along with this streaming finance solution, which really does also differentiate us from the other royalty companies. We're not doing exploration. We're not geologists. We're not buying third-party royalties where it's competitive and you get paying a premium for those. We're directly investing into the company.
Would you say that you're playing on the riskier part of the risk curve because they're smaller, or you're kind of looking at assets that really are largely de-risked? It's just there's not as much appetite for them because they're smaller.
That's a great question. So I believe they've been de-risked in sense the fact they've got the permits, they're very close to operations if they're not already producing. So a lot of that initial capital or that operational risk has been de-risked. But they are single asset producers in many cases. But we structure our deals around that. So in most cases, we're taking first ranking security over the assets. We're also investing in places like Mozambique, Peru, Mexico, South Africa. But again, we're operating in jurisdictions we know how to get into, and we're getting great returns. And now, because we have a diversified portfolio of 4 revenue-generating assets, we're de-risking that further. And as we grow the portfolio and bring more into the portfolio, it'll get de-risked as well.
So let's talk about those 4 assets here. I know we don't have a lot of time here, but high level, which ones should we be talking about? Which ones are you the most excited about?
So there's 4, as I was mentioning, 4 key assets, of course, assets. We have the Lucas Silver Stream in Durango, Mexico. That was one that was a development asset. It's now just got commercial production this year, and they're fully ramping up, and the production will further increase for us this year. So that's one of the drivers that's going to generate what we're forecasting to be double revenue this year. The other one that's significantly ramping up is one we completed last year called Galaxy in South Africa. We structured that as a gold stream. And that one, we gave some additional underground equipment that were in production, money for underground equipment and development work to really feed the big mill they have there. And that should be happening in 2025 as well. We have the Sierra Antipite project in Peru. That's producer. When we invested, it was expansion capital. That's starting to increase their production. And then we have this great gold royalty in Mozambique. They've been doing some additional drilling and they're picking up some satellite deposits. So that should also increase. So when I'm saying increasing in revenue, we just in 2024 in December, we generated $8 million in revenue. And now we have become cash flow positive. a significant milestone for our company. We're expecting to double that revenue in 2025 just with our 4 existing portfolio. That's due to the ramp ups, as I mentioned, but also the increase with gold and silver, because we are only gold and silver. We have no other commodities in that. So as we're seeing these metal prices that we discussed earlier come in, it's going to be reflected in our share and our financial.
So let's talk about the metrics compared to your peers. It's funny, we chat with some of the more competent CEOs here, and just from hearing your background, I imagine that you like to get into the numbers and really you've got ways of evaluating things. If I sat down with you as a potential investor and I wanted to understand the metrics that you're thinking about to compare yourself to your peers and judge the performance of your portfolio, what are those metrics you're thinking about?
For me, it really is the price to cash flow ratio. If you look at the intersector, it's like across the whole board, it's about 25 times, and we're at about 5 times. So even if you just took our revenue for 2025, and if I'm forecasting, say I'm forecasting 15, right? We're about 15, 60 million US. So say it's about 15. If you just took 10 times of that, the potential for re-rates there. Our market cap is just $50 million US. So when you start looking at these numbers and the economics, it's a strong case. It's that critical mass that's starting to happen. It's building it out. We launched this with a concept. Our financials are showing that we're delivering, and we want to bring new investments into the portfolio. We just announced one that we're doing in Utah, but really to start growing it now. And the cool thing about the one we're doing in Utah that we announced, and we're hopefully closing that soon, or expecting to close it soon, is it's $3 million US in a copper project. We're getting some gold and silver out of that. By closing that transaction, we're self-funding it. So I'm using the proceeds from the revenue coming in to fund new investments. This is the first one we're doing. We also have 20 million from Nabari that we can even grow the portfolio faster if we want to for the right deals.
Okay. What does your share structure look like? Who's the major investors? What can you tell us about that?
We have about 120 million shares outstanding. Our market cap is about, as I said, about $50 million US. We have a very strong shareholder base. 25% is owned by management and board. That includes Endeavour Financial as a large shareholder, so they're very much aligned with us to see this grow, and they're our investment manager. And also Jeremy Bond out of Pantera Capital Australia. He's on our board investment committee with David and myself. So that's the 25% is management board. And then 35% are strong, well-known mining, strong institutional investors and mining names. Rick Rule's been a shareholder of ours for 3 years. Maria from Scrot, Nurse Nova, amazing fund manager, we're in her fund. Frank Holmes from US Global and Ralph, we're in their fund as well. We have a gentleman called Stephen Gleason who's a shareholder. He is the 3rd largest bullion trader in the US. He's got a deposit twice the size of Fort Knox. He's a gold and metal trader, so he's a shareholder as well. So we've got a very strong shareholder base.
Okay, last question for you. If you and I sit down here at the Rule Symposium 2026 and you're telling me that it's been a successful year, what will that have meant for you?
It would be increasing the diversification of the portfolio and bringing new investments. Hopefully I've got more, additional ones coming in than just the one in the US in the next year. That is our clear intention. That's what we're focused on. But new investments in the portfolio. And it really would be also the financial statements and seeing that revenue increase and be able to talk about that.
All right. Well, Alexandra, thanks very much for sitting down and chatting with us. I always find the royalty names interesting, and I know our audience does as well. So I wish you continued success, and hopefully we can chat this time next year and you hit all those targets.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you.